about Spring-Summer 23 fashion show. I am Barbara Maiocchi, CEO and co-founder of Livetrend, a fashion tech company based in Paris. Today, with me to present this trend storming, we have two pillars of my international fashion team, Giulia Stratman and Simona Iampieri. You can say hi, girls.
Hey everyone, I'm Giulia. I've been part of this Livetrend journey from the beginning, and I'm really happy to see a lot of familiar faces today and that you decided to let me and us take you on this journey through the fashion show that we've just seen passing.
Hi everybody, I'm Simona. I'm the junior trend analyst here at Livetrend for about a year, and I'm based in Milan, so tracking the market even from Italy. And I'm really glad to see a lot of people trusting our hard work, so I really hope you will enjoy the presentation.
Thank you, girls. So today we will guide you through the global trends with quantitative analysis at first, resuming top product, colors, material, prints, and silhouettes. And then we will deep dive in the trend story, key pieces, details, and accessory. And we will also show you the seasonal sub-stories as trend direction. And this is quite new for the one we used to do our webinar. And to finish, we will talk about early sign and then the edgy trends. So a short intro for the one that are joining us for the first time. Livetrend is a digital solution providing data-driven trend analysis and competitive intelligence. We leverage on big data and AI to forecast trend with the highest accuracy and help brands having more bestseller and less unsold goods. Our goal is to help you make forward-looking decision, and by giving you the ability to capitalize on the right trends for your business, avoiding overproduction and waste. I worked 20 years as creative director and collection director, and I was dreaming of having a tool to help me analyze the thousands of information that are needed today to be efficient to create the collections. So that's why I've co-created Livetrend, an innovative solution able to better forecast trends and monitor the market, thanks to a technology that collects and processes millions of images from the most influential sources today: Instagram, e-commerce, and fashion show. This amount of information is impossible to gather manually. So that's why we developed our technology to track what will influence our consumer, to detect product that can have a real commercial impact in the market, to get the right storytelling, and to quickly spot new opportunities. The fashion industry needs to adapt to today's digital world with technology, giving reliable information and avoiding to rely just on intuitions, helping to be more efficient and, of course, more sustainable. So Livetrend.co, it's a collaborative platform designed for the entire value chain, providing different tools, helping strategic teams working together, sharing the same information. If you want to know more about our methodology, feel free to contact us, and we will be pleased to show you how we work and to give you a tour of the platform. But now, let's get to the presentation.
So, hey everyone, thank you again so much for joining us today to talk Fashion Week. The summer shows were really back to statement-making in-person events, and they challenged our expectations. They were successful because the runway shows, they really made a lot of headlines from good to bad, taking us from Bella Hadid's sprayed-on dress at Coperni to Balenciaga's sinister setting of mud, and then even to have Kanye West present his surprise Yeezy collection in a very controversial way. But overall, the season surprised us with ultra inclusivity and a new aesthetic palette. Nancy Doyaka is, for example, one of the designers who funnels this body positive moment and surprisingly took over the reign from Dior as the most watched show on Vogue Runway. This turnover definitely captures how intensely people these days are longing for novelty in fashion. And this is obvious, especially since our society is facing a particular state of transformation. However, now I go back to Barbara and let her guide you through the big global assortment of the season.
Yes, and let's start, explaining that this presentation is the result of analyzing 2,050 shows from the 4 fashion capitals with approximately 12,000 images and 50,000 products. So for the ones that are not familiar with our data, in this presentation, we will highlight the visibility of the trend, that is the number of looks on the show presenting a specific fashion attribute, the growth index of the trend compared to Spring-Summer 22, and some graph, as you can see, to present the trend evolution over the past 3 seasons. So using our algorithm, you are able to detect trend behaviors from emerging to safe trends and last call ones. These are the fundamentals KPIs that we cross-reference with Instagram and e-commerce data to provide our trend forecasting on our platform. But let's focus just on fashion show data today. So starting from the global assortment of the shows, bottoms are certainly the piece of the season. Starting from a quantitative analysis, data shows that bottoms increased by 3 point percentage this season, gaining 21% of the product assortment. If we cross data from the women's wear market, it is not surprising to see bottom rising, considering that cargo pants, mini skirts have been the star product of the last season and continue to be on top list of average search on the web. Talking about colors, we can see how the palette is evolving in a more sophisticated way, still divided into pastels and bold colors. And we can see a certain fatigue for flashy colors, decreasing 9% from last spring-summer. But the real protagonists of the color palette are certainly black, gaining 3 point percentage, and white, 2 point percentage, together representing nearly half of the color palette of the show, as you can see on the graph. Here, the message is clear. The world is facing difficult time, and black impersonifies the anxiety and the pessimistic view of the future, while white talk about hope and peace. And now I let Simona guide you through the top colors by index of growth.
So let's deep dive in the top colors for Spring-Summer 23. As we can notice, the SS23 fashion shows propose a color spectrum that breaks with dopamine dressing, which we have previously seen rising as a reaction to the pandemic. So for SS23, the runways paint a dual summer between darks, bridal lights, and a new summery color hues. Continuing from for winter 22, black shows a significant plus 124% growth, disrupting classic summer assortments and aligning with today's subversive and subcultural trend aesthetic. This time, the Barbie core trend changed the trending shade of fuchsia pink into a softer nuance that is increasing by plus 41% from SS22. And talking about new directions for current top trends, new version to Bottega's green is on the rise with intense cobalt blue that already grew by 114%. However, the season's strongest novelties are defined by a set of delicate and vibrant refreshed pastels. Lavender plays a fundamental role for essentials this season and favors a blue tint for a futuristic twist. So despite previous success, the shade kept growing by plus 120% from previous summer. An ultimate novelty is Cybermint, an emerging color with plus 69% growth to refresh late virtual line shades. And similarly striking, peachy tones introduce youthfulness and vitality to SS23, as seen in collections such as Fendi and Sportmax. So I leave again to Barbara.
Thank you, Simona. And these are top materials by visibility. So where transparencies play a key role for this season lingerie aesthetic, sheer fabrics take first place in material presenting during the show. So with a strong adoption by influential brands as Miu Miu, Bottega, Fendi, the trend promises to be big, but be careful of interpretation and play with layerings. Inspired by the Y2K trend, denim has been in the spotlight for a few seasons now, and it's still leading assortment, especially in the Milano Fashion Show, and taking on new hue, such a tea-tinted yellowish shade typical of the 2000s. The summer leather is a rising trend since last year. Leather products grow by 21% in visibility during the show, and especially on dresses, pants, and jackets. If you want to invest in something different, you can experiment on crackled leather, and as you can see at Acne and Diesel shows. Sparkling fabrics remain unmissable for the summer celebration and are taking more fluid and aquatic attitude, from mermaid full paillette surfaces to metal foils on jerseys. Shiny materials seems to be a big trend again, gaining 115% on visibility, and this shiny effect has been seen on woven fabric and jerseys as well, and used for ready-to-wear and for accessories. The last performing fabrics are on the rise, with an increase of synthetic fibers where polyester remains unavoidable, taking 54% of all fibers. But polyamide is the one with the biggest index of growth. Over last year, it gained 9%. So it is not a surprise to see a whole new range of product made of nylon, such as bombers, parachute pants, hyperlight windbreakers. So for summer 23, the trend is not fading, and with performance still at the heart of more technical and also recyclable products.
Now let me talk to you about the top prints. Diving into the prints, the season is taking us on a journey to discover other worlds and dares us to uncover the hidden beauty of places that can be near and far. To begin with summer florals for SS23, they can take on a more digital and glitch-like interpretation, but also highlight an almost kind of tacky aesthetic with big placed bouquets or ditzy handkerchief-inspired motifs. Another summer classic proposes tropical abundance via more nocturnal beach settings that take us on an eccentric Miami night. For a gloomy sundowner moment, this season's species prints explore intense color on darker grounds. And talking about all-over prints, we can see that snakeskin is returning as an animal favorite and updating the zebra look of previous seasons. This time, however, the reptile aesthetic seems to be reinvented with poisonous color palettes and therefore creating a dangerous effect. For the recent trend of this like marbled visual, we can see futuristic Oceania prints as the new evolution. These patterns combine the hidden universe of our deep sea with an augmented aura of the digital world. And here it's really about imagining somewhat otherworldly creatures or even lunar lakes for inspiration. As a favorite edgy print, we saw a lot of body-bearing looks, and we can see that develop on a larger scale. This is a print that already showed up in early signals for fall-winter 22 last time. And now this bodylicious visual is trending in statue-inspired versions that we could see at Balmain, or something a bit more artistic, or even in clever X-ray interpretations. The growth of this alluring print is really reflecting our desire to somewhat get underneath and to celebrate the female body and self-express. Lastly, as a response to, sadly, of course, the ongoing war, we would like to highlight that the dove has been featured in several collections. It sends us a message of peace and really calls for unification and for us to revive our community spirit.
Thank you, Julia. At Livetrend, we also analyzed the silhouettes of the season, from the most commercial and stable to spot the new one that are announcing a change. And as you know, through the fashion history, silhouettes have always been very important to decode trends. This season, fluidity has been one of the most relevant key attributes, presented in more than 1,600 looks and gaining 20% on visibility compared to Spring-Summer 22. Talking about novelties, you can see by the growth index of 185% that the column is the newest silhouette. We are used to a rather sleepy, column silhouette outcoming from fluid materials as knitwear, for example. Now, the most innovative lines are rather straight, as this example is a true shift dress by 16 Arlington. And the same silhouette has been seen at Kite, Ports, Prada, and Rock. So the most stable shape remains the fit and flare, made of a very tight top and full skirt as spot at Valentino or at Bottega. But other big brands decide to get inspired by history to emphasize the shape in true panier, like Dior, Chanel, or Loewe Vuitton. But if we have to analyze the early sign here, we can say that the novelty is the low waist flare, with more than 200 looks spotted at JCDC, as well as Foster's Girl, to mention just a few.
And now let's go for the design trends. At Livetrend, we always try to understand the major drivers of inspiration and be able to connect them to the seasonal core products. With a sensibility for the market, we have deciphered this season 8 underlying design directions from the women's wear shows. But as today's novelty, as Barbara already mentioned in the beginning, we will decode those trends into multiple drops and design developments. But because of our limited time, we've just been able to select 4 of them. As you can see, we will begin with a refreshing spring story in the DreamState universe. Barbara, can you go back to the, thank you, in the DreamState universe, followed by a high summer season that is spent in the heat of the cyber tropics. Then we will later explore the summer days that we can be spending dreaming about the tales of secret gardens, and at last challenge the doomsday aura for a fully transitional villain VERVE design concept. Now on the next slide, you can see that there are even so much more other inspirations and stories to discover. So please wait until the end to understand how you can get this full package of information of SS23. But let us dive into the DreamState universe, a softer and more sensual take on minimalist design that is fully ready to enchant collections for the springtime season. Our perspective on the future seems to be certainly changing into this somewhat softer utopia. Designers are acknowledging the ability to shape this brave new world and begin to focus on enhanced well-being and a clearer state of mind. We explore the potential of sleep, of dreaming and rest to fully liberate our imagination. The aesthetic seems fluid and the mood feels more sophisticated and pure. The silhouettes we can see are balancing between cocooning and revealing, between sharp and organic, and between unisex and hyper-feminine. For materials, boudoir moments in lace and satin meet some more visionary, gummy-like surfaces and tactility for big surprise. The trend seems dipped in a rejuvenating spring palette and channels this new era of pastel shades that Simona talked about in the beginning with a slightly artificial hue. We can see how on the side in this like little palette, how a tranquil blue and lavender of this season are able to balance these new and exciting tones of cybermint, sorbet yellow, and peachy rose. When we go to the next slide, we can see the seasonal must-haves for this aesthetic. They really build on this desire for new essentials. The asymmetric skirt, for example, is one of those new core items and certainly captures the fluid component of this DreamState concept. The piece can either be playing with lingerie elements, Y2K waterfall effects, or the trending low-waist silhouette that Barbara talked about. The next piece is the sheer top, which was featured as one of those things all sheer that we saw across the shows. It performs well with an impactful growth of 502% for SS23 and is especially relevant for the trending tank top that can be updated with this transparency novelty. We've seen this being very successful at shows like Fendi that you can see here, or even Andrea Damo. Lastly, the oversized blazer remains a key item. On e-commerce, it was already a strong performer across all markets during the summer and grew there by 70%. Now underlined by the continuing success on the shows, we can expect this unisex tailoring piece to promise big commercial potential for next 2023 summer season as well.
And then for our dream state story, the details capture the soft and delicate vibe of the utopian theme, as Julia already mentioned. Experiments with draping continue to have a big impact and were featured in 793 looks, growing by solid plus 125% from SS22. The restful appeal of sleepwear and the idea of stripping off the day is translated in revealed undergarments. The undress aesthetic is a big seasonal trend, showing off in more than 1,000 looks with a strong growth rate. And related accessories align with the wellness center aesthetic of DREAMSTATE. As a core item, the sock boot is an emerging trend with almost futuristic outlines for a soft performance feel. The light jersey materials are an ideal choice for a summery boot alternative, and this piece had already performed a growth of plus 46% on Instagram and plus 14% on e-commerce compared to last year. And lastly, for bags, the slouchy crossbody creates a soft organic shapes in surprising volumes. The piece matches the cocooning aspect and as well as the explorative vibe towards the unknown.
Thank you, Simona. So DREAMSTATE is a very important direction of the season, and you can divide it in several seasonal sub-stories, starting from spring to high summer. But in this slide, we want to show you how this trend direction can be interpreted in several ways and be adapted to different brand DNA. In soft utopic, tailoring and lingerie collides in a futuristic and sharp silhouette, driving hybrid aesthetic. In hyper wellness, softness and comfort are key, enhancing basic pieces without forgetting sophistication and a genderless allure. Sleepover is drastically inspired by nightwear and lingerie. The keyword made plus 80% from Spring-Summer 22. And this new delicate sexiness, made strong by body consciousness, is unafraid to show off some skin.
Thank you, Barbara. So off to the next trend. As a progression of the Y2K trend, mixed with some sort of revenge travel that we still see going on, and the return of festivals, our Cyber Tropics is one of those concepts to really indulge in hedonism for SS23. The next season is reviving skate and surf and going for this I don't care club kid coolness again. For this story, designers explore a juicy, tropic and almost artificial mood. Exotic motifs like sunsets across palm beaches or popping space dyes take us back to some heated Cali nights of the 2000s. For the look, a stylish youth silhouette favors micro shapes, super tight jersey pieces and clashing baggy bottoms. The aesthetic generates a mix of music video sex appeal and cool kid skater style. Scuba neoprene, fun crochet, and glittery add-ons are the trendy choices to ignite the textile offer for this trend. The color harmony is getting us ready for an expanding physical reality. Surprising in lighter neons, we can see them pulsating on still darker backgrounds for a kind of adrenaline color prism. These new highlights, these new lighter neons include a kind of toxic tangerine, a cobalt blue that we mentioned in the beginning, super deep purple and lime as the key shades. And now talking about the must-haves, we can see how to capture this Gen Z ready aesthetic. The SS23 must-haves are setting on iconic pieces like the low-rise skirt. The skirt has really become a new core item that can be interpreted in a sophisticated way when we look at it in midi length, or even this season we've seen a lot of full-length interpretations for a more dramatic appeal, or it can prevail in a very skin-revealing mini and youthful silhouette. With a growth of 176%, the piece is set to define fashion consumers that will be flaunting along the beach. The next SS23 must-have is the gathered dress. It is a great option for the currently trending form-fitting shape. With a good sales performance and a solid growth rate of approximately 50%, this piece has already convinced during this summer season and maintains some business potential and success when looking ahead. As a new Y2K must-have, the baby tee offers us an alternative within a generally declining t-shirt category, as we saw in the beginning. However, enhanced with rhinestones or tacky, girly prints, this early signature piece can add some sort of ironic sassiness to a rather mundane garment and amp up our summer assortments next season.
Thank you, Julia. And for this trend story that is strongly driven by youth culture surrounding skate, surf, and millennium looks, the aesthetic is crucial to highlight cropped silhouette as a young and fun element which continues to appeal. For SS23, cropped looks remains as a big trend with a stable 14% growth from SS22. Layered styling is representing the creative approach to fashion that is key to the story's self-expression, and layering add a huge visibility with the 1404 looks and aligns with the grand trend of the moment. Then leveraging on a favorite of the Y2K aesthetic, the heel tongue is one of the essential shoes for the cybertropic wardrobe. In retro platforms or frivolous kitten styles, the piece is coming back in bold new interpretations for SS23, already showing a 16% growth on e-commerce yearly. And for bags, the tilted trapeze is adding a sharp, digital-ready feeling with its bold edges and the clear outlines. And an update for the shoulder bag. The piece proposes a youthful and fresh aesthetic to feed fashionable consumers. This emerging trend has a small visibility, but a growth of plus 300% yearly. Now I'll leave it to Barbara.
Yeah, to go to the trend developments. So Cybertropics is the most vibrant direction of the season, and we break it down in 3 seasonal sub-stories that can express different styles, but also different drops of the same trend, and keeping your collection and merchandising evolving through the season. Sunset Raver is inspired by the Y2K trend that is rising 15% from Spring-Summer 22, of course, embracing the rave culture, the fun of the nightlife, and the freedom of the festivals. Surfer's Paradise. So as we have seen for men's fashion show, surf and skate culture is coming back among the young generation, bringing cool, active elements to mix with more urban and beach-like looks. Active and sporty attributes are rising 28% on Spring-Summer 23. Barbie Beach is like a word play, so you can imagine the irony of the theme inspired by the strong Barbiecore trend that scream out loud, girl, just want to have fun.
Well, hopping into the third story that we want to present today, we can see how for the late summer days, Spring-Summer 23 proposes a secret and more gentle world that we can discover in the basically even hidden in our own backyards. To enrich the currently trending horticulture trend with a more feminine and dreamy attribute, this design concept paints a softly tinted fairy tale where utility elements collide with an uncompromising soft design. The trend is adding a fresh connotation to the fashion scope and reimagines familiar silhouettes. It provides consumers with enough escapism as well as a feeling of grounding and reassurance. In this new world, hybrid utility sees rubber boots on featherweight bustier dresses or whimsical frills and offers us the look of a somewhat romanticized gardener or even the gardening romantic. Nylons seem to have a tufter appeal, twills will engage with a more delicate shine, and floral embroidery or linen are some of the material choices to go for within this trend. Regarding the color range, Secret Gardens is dipped in surprisingly fresh shades of rather muddy olive and dusty rose. And it is enriched by a chartreuse lime and a strong pink for more fun and more energetic moments for SS23. The top pieces, the must-haves for Secret Garden, are some of the season's hottest contesters. Let's begin with the cargo pant, a style that is already a hit for men's and women's wear at the moment. This summer, we saw the piece already be adopted in the market with already 323% increase on e-commerce. And as a next season's novelty on those SS23 shows, we saw a lot of styles that were featured in satin or other fluid materials that brought us a bit of innovation and pushed away from the Y2K look into a more feminine direction. The next key piece is the corset top, and it did not just perform well on the recent runway shows. On Instagram and on the market, we've seen a growth of around 120% for the piece already during this past summer season. And in web searches, this corset top has often been paired with the previously mentioned cargo pants. Lastly, the windbreaker is returning in more feminine interpretations for SS23. This early sign trend surprises in light color hues, unexpected sheer materials, and even with hourglass waistline details for a more delicate performance style.
And to help translate the secret garden trend into products, botanical motifs are not only important for prints, but have been featured in various details to challenge designers' creativity. As three-dimensional add-on elements, this garden element grew by 243% from SS22, and is a safe bet for SS23. Drawstrings also are the other important detail. Drawstrings are not only aligning with the idea of gardening utility, but create soft volumes to match the theme's delicate notion. For our garden fairy tale, the ballet flat is coming in an updated version as the essential women's wear flat for SS23. New ballet saw an increase of plus 250% in search rates yearly. And a romantic dancer universe, as the trending balletcore aesthetic underlines, propose a classic interpretation. But we can also see reinvented products with functional performance souls. And then lastly, talking functionality, the belt bag makes the season's novelty bag statement. From big utilitarian pockets a la Miu Miu or more frivolous designs at Huan Wang, these accessories are taking the fanny pack to an entirely new level. And while the product showcased a small decreasing over the last year, it's likely to generate a new appeal after being featured by big brands as Miu Miu.
Thank you, Simona. So, Secret Garden is a direction where outdoor and femininity collides in a fresh and new summer spirit, as Julia told you before. We've curated 3 seasonal sub-stories starting from spring to high summer. And in this slide, we want to show you how this trend direction can be interpreted in different styles and so can be adapted to your brand DNA. So soft outdoor, as the title says, is a trend story. It's a soft interpretation of outdoor with a feminine approach. When they say opposite attracts, this theme shows that interpretation can bring unusual and fascinating new things to life. Urban Farmer is a bridge between streetwear and horticulture, where the streetwear codes are landing in a soft, dreaming landscape where people take care of their nature and of each other. Fairy dressing is inspired by the balletcore aesthetic, and it's spreading femininity and elegance, and this romantic floral world inspired by Yuan Wang, Simone Rocha, and also seen at Bottega Veneta, Elisab, and Christian Dior. The K attribute romantic is rising 38% across Spring-Summer 23 shows.
Thank you, Barbara. And now our last design story, the predominantly black villain VERVE, which explores a bittersweet fantasy of a somewhat female fighter within the context of our current doomsday mood. While consumers can experience anxiety, frustration, and rebellion these days, this trend tries to channel those feelings into a sleek and sexy villain wardrobe. Women are the leaders now, and they are allowed to feel empowered, strong, and more desired than ever before. Villain VERVE is a continuation of the erotica and racer themes from Fall/Winter 22. Increasing explorations of provocative cutouts will meet vampy streamlined drama for SS23, however. At the same time, we can see the first notions of the 80s pushing through in bolder shoulders, hourglass waistlines, and more glossy materials. For the look, the right dosage of erotic lingerie and rigid men's tailoring is crucial to balance all of those rather edgy components. In a daunting color palette, pitch purple and passionate red are those shades that introduce dynamism and this kind of ready-to-fight spirit and brighten up the intense darks. When we look at the must-haves, the seasonal core items for VERVE include a growing number of long-sleeve bodies that are often paired with low-waist bottoms to reveal seductive spaces around the hip area, as we can see in this example of Nancy Doyaka, and growing by 122%. The continuation of the biker jacket remains a safe, fashionable bet for SS23 as well. However, we can see that the silhouette overall is slimming down a little for the more fashionable niche of the market, because now we've seen a lot of like oversized interpretations, but now we go for a more slinky fit. As a third core item, the development of lingerie dresses continues. And the piece was already really big on the market this SS22 summer season. However, for next summer, we can expect another spike, because now we see a bit more asymmetric and bolder interpretations that can be new staples next to this already existing and favored slip lingerie dress style.
Thank you, Julia. And in this villain-themed story, the rebellious component is enhanced by lacing details. Inspired by a strong taste for the bondage universe, the lacing elements experience a growth of 24% and represent a safe trend that will need the flayed dosage for commercially performing styles. With a plus 140% of growth from SS22, the stud is announcing its comeback. So fit into the one-piece, feel the detail can renew current rhinestones and glitter for more unique looks. And for the perfect villain shoe, the runways showcase an array of untraditional bent heels. So the fashion-forward shape creates a bold Maleficent-like product and a power heel to introduce novelty to the next summer. And experimental heels have already performed a plus 25% growth on e-commerce yearly. And lastly, the biker bag that had already gained a spot in currently emerging trend bags. The Balenciaga biker bag continued to rise interest and it grew by 110% in searches yearly. So for SS23, the big takes, this bag is taking an edgier multi-pocket approach, and as we can see, it's combining messenger and shoulder bag elements. So from Miu Miu to Harlington, this sleek performer is adding a character style to Spring/Summer 23.
So VERVE is a strong, controversial direction for summer, ideal for transitional period. Our three trend developments can introduce different brand DNA, but can also be different drop of the same main theme, helping your merchandising and also storytelling evolve through the season. Dramatic Vamp is definitely translating the 80s vibe that are coming back for Spring/Summer 23, with glamorous, dramatic look with bold shoulder and empowering silhouettes. Inspired by streetwear and the motorcore trend, Street Elite mix and match a feminine element with sporty and racing gear to design like a video game heroine. Fetish Notions brings dominatrix trend even more literal with corset and suspenders and working on new erogenous zone as hips and belly. The keywords dominatrix rise 143% on Spring/Summer 23, announcing to be a big trend.
And now, as a last part of today's webinar, I'm really excited to underline some of this really strong desire for novelty of the season. And therefore, we just quickly fly over some of the most intriguing, edgy details that have surprised us across multiple fashion shows. For ready-to-wear, we chose to feature some of the newer lingerie-type elements that can create or generate this sort of sensuality and seductive feel. SS23 sees more explicit suspender details for tops and bottoms to really capture this fetish notion that Barbara talked about. And at the same time, we also see some sort of upside down effects that are enhancing the idea of stripping off a layer and really pushing the undressing trend to a next level. Even more extreme in terms of female gaze sexuality, we see that the nipple has become a big focus this season. From literal nipple patches to underwire illusions, women are now daring to show, or basically not show, the part of their body that is still widely censored online. With this, they take ownership of their own values, of their own bodies, and really create an empowered feminine message. And moving on for accessories, just to highlight some of the more interesting and exciting novelties, we saw a lot of inflated and pneumatic effects that have been important for shoes and bags. Especially on round and circular shapes, this balloon-like effect proposes an intriguing design option, as we have seen at designers like Awake or Issey Miyake. Another edgy style for footwear is actually the clash of two of the season's top trends, which are the sock boot and the heeled thong. And they kind of collide into this peep-toe diver's boot. And the surprising piece has popped up across an unexpected number of collections, ranging from Stella McCartney to Off-White. And to finish off with another heroic element to enhance our female force theme of the season, we would like to highlight that we've spotted numerous hard molded kind of metal or plastic shields that were featured as a somewhat stylized version of protection gear. These new metal add-ons update the padded vests and this racing gear that we saw before, and are able to dress both these kind of godlike creatures, but also the villains of the SS23 stories. And now I give back to Barbara to wrap up for today.
Yeah, because we have finished for today with our 4 trend stories, and we are just in time. But as Julia told you at the beginning, we have 4 other very important directions that we didn't have time not to talk about today. So anyway, I hope we've given you an idea on how Livetrend is an incredible and tangible source of insights to help you spot the right trend and build successful collection. So why stop here when you can take your collection to the next level? If you are not yet a Livetrend client, to get the full insights, you can leverage on 2 offers. The complete report in PDF format. We have prepared 2 independent analyses, one about ready-to-wear and the other one about bags and shoes. You can buy the one of your interest or both for a convenient price. And the other option is to subscribe to the platform where you can get, as all of our clients, specific trend reports drilled down by product range with related data on colors, material, prints, etc. And of course, fashion shows are just a small part of our contents. We've already crossed this information with Instagram and e-commerce to publish relevant forecasts for the next season. We have started special pricing for the participants of the webinar, so you can rely on the option that suits your needs and your budget. And if you're interested and you would like to purchase the full report or a subscription, please write to contact@livetrend.co. If your email is registered for the webinar, you will get a special prize. So thank you very much to all the attendees today. We have people from all around the world, Europe, UK, Morocco, Canada, South Africa, South Korea, Hong Kong, from Asia. So we are very, very proud of your interest. So thank you very much. And please contact us we will be very, interested to listen to your need and show you our platform. And I will be very pleased to do it personally.